Hey guys, I'm RNG and I am freaking inundated by AliExpress watch ads. They're all over Instagram. They email them to me all the time. I can't even check out my favorite watch channels without them talking about the best freaking budget AliExpress watches. And I usually watch them because they're entertaining. So, like everybody else, probably you watching, I go freaking on AliExpress and I look at all the watches, and you know what? A lot of them look really freaking cool, man. And you see the price of them and you're like, 83 bucks, man. That's awesome. That seems like a great deal. That looks so cool. You know the reason it looks cool? Because it's an homage. They stole that idea from some other company. They put a lot of effort and care into designing something that is sleek and pretty and freaking awesome. It's a knockoff. And you know what? The specs are good. It has all the features of a much more expensive watch, and it plays the part. It makes you feel like you're dumb for not buying it, and even dumber for buying the real thing. So you add it to your cart, you choose to check out using PayPal because you're afraid to put your credit card number on AliExpress, and then 3 to 18 weeks later, in a strangely packed package, it arrives on your doorstep. You bust it open, admire it, wear it a few times, thinking, you know what? This is a pretty good watch. I'm glad I bought this. And then a month later, you never wear it again. Why does this keep happening? Why does it keep happening to me? Why does it maybe keep happening to you? Well, it's because you wanted to have something that you love, but not love enough to actually buy the real thing, right? I really wanted a Mega Speedmaster, dude. They're so expensive and it'll take me years to save up for it. I'll just get I'll get the Pagani Designs one, and that'll satisfy my itch and that'll tide me over until I can get the real thing. Nah, it never happens like that. That never happens. What ends up happening is that it makes you want the Omega Speedmaster even more. And so now, instead of just saving up like $8 grand to buy one of those, you've spent $8 grand plus $120 that made your itch worse. I bought a bunch of Pagani Design stuff and stuff off AliExpress to kind of test out and see if I wanted to get some other watches. And I have to say, sometimes it made me not want to get those watches. I don't want a Daytona because I bought a Pagani Designs Daytona homage and realized I just kind of don't like the shape of the Daytona. So that's good. I did buy the Speedmaster, and I want a Speedmaster even more. I dream about it on a nightly basis. And if you go on AliExpress and buy one of these watches just because you need like a good watch and you just think it looks cool, I'm not gonna fault you for that. These watches are usually fairly well built and you get a lot for your money. But if you're just trying to buy a watch because it's a knockoff of a watch you really wanna wear, that's a whole different story. What's the onus behind doing that? Are you trying to prove something to yourself? Are you trying to prove it to other people? Why do people do that? There's probably several different reasons, but the main one is you want people to think you have that watch. You want to look like you're wearing something that looks really cool. Now, I grew up in Alabama, poor as dirt, as they would say out in the country. My grandmother was poor as dirt, and she had a lot of great sayings about poor people because she thought a lot of people were poorer than she was, although we were about as poor as they came. And I've never forgotten this, but she said, a poor person will spend every dollar they have in their pocket trying to make someone else think they have a lot of money. And as I've lived my life, I've come to feel that that's actually pretty true. I'm not saying people that buy AliExpress homage watches are doing that. I'm not saying if you bought one you were trying to do that, but I don't think you can tell me, RNG, that isn't primarily what people are doing, buying watches off AliExpress. Now, when I say watches off AliExpress, I'm not talking about watches like Seagull or some of the San Martin designs, where those are original watches. I have nothing against making a watch in China. People in China, if they design and make a watch, I have nothing, it's just like buying a Swiss watch. I love that. I have a Seagull 1963, but it's the design aspect. Someone had to take time to design that watch, make sure the proportions were right, make sure it all fit together, and then someone had to build it. Building the watch, that's just half of it. The design's the other half. And if you're relying on some other company to design something for you and you're stealing it from them, I do have a problem with that. The other thing I have a problem with is a lot of watch reviews and a lot of information online about watches, because they just talk about specs. It's just specs. Yeah, it's got a 40 mil width to the case and the lug width's 20 mil and it has double AR coated sapphire glass in it, and it has a Miyota whatever. Okay, fine. All right. That's like if I did a car review and I was like, it's got 4 seats and a 13-gallon gas tank and like, okay, all right. It's got a windshield in the front and in the back. It's like, okay, cool. It's got all the parts that make it a car. It's got all the parts that make it a watch. But can you tell me how it makes you feel? Can you do that for me? Please? I can look up the specs. I want to know if it's a fun and interesting and worthwhile watch. Yeah, the specs matter. Those are important because you have to have a watch that like fits your lifestyle. But what I'm paying for when I buy a watch is originality, history, emotion, intrigue. Even status. I mean, we pay for status whether we like to admit it or not, or whether we care for it or not. A lot of the price built into a watch is the freaking status of it. It's a status symbol. And a lot of times we buy watches not for how we feel, but for how it makes the people around us feel. It's sad. I wish it wasn't true. But even if it doesn't apply to you or me, it definitely applies to a lot of people buying watches. Now, after that philosophical and existential diatribe, let's actually get to the root of what this freaking video is. Hey, guess what? It's a watch review about an AliExpress watch. The only AliExpress watch that I've ever bought that's an homage that I feel is worthy of keeping. And why is that? Because it's so dumb. The dumbness of it makes me really like it. Now, back in the day, a very fancy watch company called Blancpain, which means white bread in French, or white pain in English, they came out with a dive watch called the 50 Fathoms, right? You know the history. It's gonna be like, it's the first dive watch. You can go 50 fathoms, 180 feet below freaking 180 meters, fathoms, 6 feet, that's 2 meters, that's 300 meters. 300 meters under sea level. And then like Rolex scooped them and put out the Submariner, whatever the crap, dude. The 50 Fathoms is a freaking baller, awesome watch, okay? Also back then, they packed their watches full of radium, as one did in the 50s and 60s. Like, if something's good, the only way to make it better is to put radioactive materials in it, you know, to make it glow underwater. They needed that. That was important. I guess all the cancer people got, all the watchmakers that got cancer, it was important to them that didn't happen. So they decided to get rid of radium. And Blancpain, in a very strange and weird decision, put a no radiations symbol right on the front of the freaking dial of their 50 Fathoms. And it's called the 50 Fathoms No Rad. It's kind of like my Holy Grail watch. Now, I love that design decision because it's so dumb. You know when you get in your car and you look over to the passenger seat and you have the sun visor that comes down, and maybe on the outside or the inside is like a warning label that describes all the crap you're not supposed to do in the car, like don't ride backwards in the passenger seat and don't wrap the seatbelt around your neck and all that's up there. It's like big red bar. What if instead of trying to hide that on the visor in the car, they made that like a design feature? like it was on the dash, like right across the center of the dash, from like the steering wheel all the way to like the middle of the passenger seat. That's what the No Rad's 50 Fathoms is, and I freaking think that's hilarious. Now, any watch company on AliExpress can take that design, steal that history, stolen glory, and make a watch homaging that. And guess what? A bunch of them sure as crap did that. But there's one company that made one that I'm okay with. And this is the Thorn homage to the No Rad's 50 Fathoms. This time in bronze on a NATO strap. Now, this isn't a bad looking watch. Of course not. It was designed by Blancpain 70 years ago. It better look good. All the design elements of it, they were stolen. Now, the specs on this watch, as one would expect, are pretty good. We got a 40 mil case width, a freaking 20 mil lug width. All exactly what most people want. It has a screw down crown. It has, allegedly, I don't know, freaking 200 meters of water resistance. You're not gonna go that, no one can scuba dive that deep, okay? That's like saturation diving, okay? You can probably swim with this water. You probably swim with this watch in the water. You probably get in the water with this watch, okay? I'm not gonna do it. I don't know why I would ever freaking do that, but in theory you can. It has a domed sapphire glass that has some nice distortion around the edge of it. It is coated, I think, on the inside with some sort of AR coating, and it appears to be sapphire crystal. It's a well-built watch. I think it has a freaking Miyota movement in it. Decent enough. Cost 160 something bucks, or it did when I bought it. So the specs are fine. All the AliExpress watches have specs like that. They're fine. They're totally fine. There's nothing wrong with those. But how does this watch make me feel? Why is this watch worth having? It has a certain je ne sais quoi, as they would say, or a freaking mojo. It has mojo. It's dumb. It's a really dumb watch. It has character. It has Riz, as the kids say. Skibbity Riz, Ohio, and all that, right? It's got all that. It's got all those things.
Level 5 got Riz, Livy done rizzing up baby Gronk, Ice Spice what the dog doing, Skibbity Toilet in real life only in Ohio.
First, it's bronze, which the classic Blancpain 50 Fathoms was not. And bronze watches they were trendy for a while. They're kind of like drifting a little bit out of trend, but I think it's fine for a dive watch. When you look at old like divers helmets and stuff, they're made out of bronze and they get all gross and cruddy and green crap starts growing on them. And that looks cool. I don't know that I want to wear it on my wrist, but I'm gonna with this watch. I'm gonna have a gross, nasty, oxidized, tarnished, gross brass dive tool watch on my wrist, and I've come to terms with that, okay? This watch has Fotina hour markers on it, which I really like. But they didn't put Fotinaed hands on it. They put bright white hands, which looks so dumb and so lazy, and they put so much effort into this watch, and they chose to do that. They can rip off every other thing in the world, but they can't make hands match the freaking rest of the watch. And that's fine. It looks awful. It looks so bad, and that's okay. It's got the No Rad symbol on it. The No Rad symbol on it looks very crisp. I looked at it under a microscope. No complaints at all. It probably looks a lot better than the one on a real 50 Fathoms. The space between the case and the bezel is machined with such precision and such high tolerance that I can't actively feel the gap between the rotating bezel and the side of the case. That's pretty impressive. You do feel that even on expensive watches. So the machining on this is really good. It's got, that feels like 120 clicks around the bezel, which is good. It's got a nice little springiness to it. You can like hear the spring reverberating inside the watch. It's got like a bling bling kind of chiminess to it, which I like. But this watch has something no other watch has. Something that I love. It's the #1 reason I decided to keep this watch. This watch has a freaking typo right on the dial. Right below Thorn, it says Classic Tribution. Tribution, as far as I know, is not a word. That's their catchphrase. Thorn's classic catchphrase is Classic Tribution. Maybe this would be Tribulation. I've heard people say it was supposed to be tradition. Not in my heart, buddy. Classic Tribution is the motto by which I'm gonna live my life from now on. It encompasses everything about my character, everything I hold true, everything I believe in. Ride or die, baby. Classic Tribution. So truthfully, this watch is cool because they screwed it up. It was perfection for 90% of the journey. And the last thing they had to do when they put this bad boy of a watch together was slap a dial on it, and they pissed the bed. They put a typo on it. And then after that, they had to put some hands on it. And that Chinese factory, full of thousands and thousands and thousands of different hands of all varying types and colors and patinas, they chose stark ass white syringe. No, they're not even syringe. They're like sword type hands. So dumb. So dumb. I love it. The strap is also a fairly decent quality. It's really stiff. It's heavy duty. It is long. It would fit like an 11.5-inch wrist. I have a 6.5-inch wrist, and they've got plenty of little holes for it, but I'm like in between two. Like it's either too tight or too loose. Right now I've got it too loose, but I'm gonna take this strap off anyway. I like the NATO, but I'm gonna put a better NATO on it. Now, why do we wear watches? Okay, they're tools. I'm not gonna dive with this. I'm gonna use it to tell the time. And as much as we hate to admit it, we always wear a watch to impress somebody. In my opinion, there are 3 groups of people that we aim to impress, or at least 3 groups that we potentially impress. Group number 1, the only one that should really matter, and the most important, is we wear a watch to impress ourselves. Maybe it makes you feel something, maybe it makes you remember somebody, whatever. We wear the watch to make ourselves feel something. The second group is you wear a watch to impress people that don't know anything about watches. It's shiny, it's expensive, everybody's heard of it. You know, freaking Brad Pitt wore one to the Academy Awards or something, and now you want to wear one because, you know, some girl you used to date had a crush on Brad Pitt, and she accidentally called you Brad one time in bed, and like it's been wounding you for like 15 years. And now you're going to prove to her that you have a freaking Vacheron Constantin watch, okay? I think we can all say we've been there. The third group is you buy a watch to impress watch people. Okay?
Have a look, son. Hamilton, lovely. Belova, you can throw that in the bin. Boss, you can throw that in the bin. Your G-Shocks are quite cool. Your Citizen is alright. Tissot is very nice. And your Orient, that looks like a Planet Ocean, that is ready for the bin.
No one's gonna give a crap about this watch except you and watch people. That's still a worthy group of people to try to impress. Hopefully you impress them all, but primarily you just need to impress yourself, okay? But who's this watch for? Who's this watch gonna impress? So this is an AliExpress knockoff watch, which we've established I don't like, but it impresses me. It's got some mojo, it's got some pizzazz, it's really dumb. It embodies, you know, my lifestyle now. So for me, and I think this watch in particular, for self-impressivity, self-actualization, friggin' the tingly feelies you get inside for yourself, I'd put this watch as a high. There's a lot of stuff about this watch that endears it to me, and I think people that are into watches would also feel that way. How's it gonna impress other people that don't know watches? Let's see.
How's it going, guys? I have a question for you.
Okay.
What is your reaction to this watch?
Oh, it's really cool.
You think it's cool?
Yeah. Oh, I like that.
You like it? It's a little weird. You don't think the radiation symbol on it's a little strange?
No, I think it's pretty cool. I didn't even notice it. I thought it was a pizza.
Okay, perfect.
There you have it. From the mouth of the public, it's a cool watch. It looks like it has a pizza on it. People out on the street aren't gonna get this watch. They're gonna say like, oh, it looks like gold, and then it's got like a yellow clown face on it. I had someone else say it looked like a clown face. They're not wrong. The ability to impress the public, I don't think it's gonna turn them off. Just mid-level. This is just a watch to them. They don't know what a Blancpain 50 Fathoms is. They don't know the history about the No Rad symbol. They don't know what an homage is. But I think if you sat down and explained it to someone, they would say it's a kind of a cool watch. Is this watch gonna impress watch people? Well, you can let me know that down below. Leave me a comment. While you're down there, you know, you can do that too. Subscribe if you want to see some more content like this. I'm just doing this because it's fun, by the way. In case you don't know, I do have another YouTube channel. I think watch people would find this to be mildly interesting because it's just, I just explained to you why. If I'm talking with a watch person, we're gonna be talking, buddy. You and me, we're gonna hash it out. We're gonna have some dialogue. But I think if they listen to your story, they would think this is mid-tier interesting. So high, mid. But I'm gonna do something I've never seen any other watch reviewer ever do. I'm gonna review this watch like I reviewed the hundreds of video games I've reviewed. I'm gonna give it a score. The Thorn 50 Fathoms No Rad's homage 40 mil case diameter in bronze on a NATO off AliExpress is gonna get a 7 out of 10. A 7 is good, okay? A 7 is worth having and wearing. So congratulations to Thorn. You convinced me to keep an AliExpress watch. Thanks for watching, guys. I hope you liked the video. I answer every comment. Give me a like. That does help me with the YouTube algorithm. I'll catch you in the next video.